Welcome everyone! Today we will discover product development in Perennia's bite-sized series. What is product development? Product development is like creating a new recipe or making a favorite snack even better. It starts with an idea, maybe a new cookie flavor or a healthier juice. Then people work together to choose the right ingredients, figure out how to make it, test it to make sure it tastes good, and check that it's safe. They also design the packaging to look nice and keep the food fresh. The goal is to make something that people will enjoy, that follows the rules and regulations, and that can be sold in stores. Product development is important for food businesses because it helps them create new foods that people want, stay ahead of other companies, and stand out in a busy market. It helps them come up with new ideas, make more money by offering different products, and keeps their brand looking good by making sure the food is safe and of high quality. It also helps businesses follow trends, reach new customers, and meet rules about food safety and the environment, which helps them to grow and succeed in the long run. Wonder how all the products you see at the grocery store get on the shelves? There's always someone behind the scenes, or really a team of many talented people, who creates food or beverage products so they can be sold at the grocery store. Let's look at the steps required to develop a food or beverage product. We start with idea generation and concept creation. Then we move to formulation and prototype development. The next step is product testing and processing, then packaging and labeling. Finally, we get to commercialization and market launch. Idea generation is the first step when creating a new product. Say we want to develop a new cookie. This is where people from different parts of your company come together to think of ideas. For example, the sales team might share what customers are asking for. The marketing team might suggest fun flavors and colors. And the technical team might think about how to make the cookie. They also look at what other cookie companies are making and check out food trends, like if people want healthier or gluten-free options. It's all about coming up with the best ideas based on what people like and what's popular. If you are a small business, one person can brainstorm to get new ideas and do market research by talking to friends, family and customers, visiting stores to browse existing products, and looking up information online. Maybe you have a great family recipe for a cookie you'd like to develop and sell in a retail store. Ask yourself, what is unique about this cookie? Who would want to buy this? Where would I buy ingredients in bulk? Is it different than other cookies on the market? How will I make my cookie stand out? You also need to think about your equipment, like ovens or mixers, the space you need to bake these cookies, and ingredients like flour or chocolate, and whether you can get enough to make your product in bulk. Ask yourself where you want to sell your product, because the answer may determine the level of financial investment you need to make to get started. Remember, the bigger the goal, the more money you need. Food safety requirements must be considered from the beginning as well. Make sure to research your local regulations to ensure you have a safe product, whether you're selling in a farmer's market setting, in retail spaces, or somewhere else. One way to help flesh out your idea is to do a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Let's use our cookie example again. You have a cookie based on your family's favorite recipe that you've been baking at home and sharing with a few friends. You think you could make this into a commercial product. Now for your SWOT analysis, let's think about what your strength is. In this example, you know your cookies taste amazing. What is your weakness, or what could you do better? Since you're baking at home, one weakness is that you don't have enough oven space to bake a lot at once. What opportunities do you see out there? Maybe you know a lot of people are looking for products that have natural, more simple ingredients, and you think your cookie recipe fits into that category. What threats do you see, or what could make things harder? In this case, maybe another company is already selling a similar product, and there you have it. That's a basic SWOT analysis. Your SWOT analysis will likely be more complex than the example we used today and will probably change over time, but it is a great way to begin thinking about you, your product or business, and the market in general. Not sure where to start? Perennia's commercialization booklet has a great idea generation checklist to help you nail down your concept. You can download it for free on Perennia Academy. Let's move on to formulation and prototype development. You will need to ask yourself many questions and work to find the answers before moving on. Some questions could be: do you have a written recipe for your family's cookies? Did you choose the ingredients based on taste, cost, or nutritional value? What is the method for making the recipe? Have you weighed the ingredients? Have you perfected your grandma's recipe? How many times did you make it before you liked the taste, texture, and look of the cookies? When you make them in bulk, does the result stay the same? Or does your recipe need tweaking? Where do you make your cookies? Does baking them in a home oven give different results than in a commercial oven? Where are you getting your ingredients? Do you know how much it costs to make this cookie? Did you gather feedback from the general public, not just friends and family? There are so many things to consider when testing a recipe. It may seem overwhelming, but it is a crucial step in ensuring that your product is consistent and, of course, delicious. Once you are satisfied with your recipe, it's time to test your product. Aside from making sure your cookie is delicious, there are other more technical things you will need to know. The most important is food safety. Do you have proof your cookie is safe to eat? When does your cookie go stale? How long will it stay tasty? Or does the taste and texture change over time? Is it shelf stable, or should it be refrigerated? Scientific tests exist to make sure your product won't make anyone sick. You can work with food safety specialists and food scientists to get a shelf life evaluation, otherwise known as a best before date, for your product, as well as a food safety review. Depending on where you plan on selling your product, you may even need to obtain certain certifications, participate in training, and undergo regular audits. Safety is a priority at every stage of product development. Now you've got a great recipe, and you've determined your product is safe to consume and sell. Next, let's look at packaging and labeling. How do you want to package your cookies? Think of the functionality and convenience of your packaging. You want your cookies to stay fresh and unbroken, so maybe you need a bag or a box that can be resealed after opening. You'll need packaging that will keep air and water out so that the cookie won't get stale or soggy. This is another great opportunity to gather feedback from people and find out what your customer values. Maybe your customer says your cookie needs more chocolate, or the wrapper is hard to open. Maybe they'll say there aren't enough cookies in the package, or too many. Whatever they tell you, write it down so you remember. You might need to change your recipe or packaging based on what they say, or you might decide to stick with what you had. Either way, you don't have to take every single piece of advice, but it is nice to know what customers are concerned about. When everything is just perfect, it's time to make a big batch of your cookies. Making cookies, or whatever product you choose, at a commercial scale requires precision, a lot more than when you're baking at home for friends and family. Write down your recipe and be exact about how to make your cookies. Note the precise amounts of sugar, flour, and other ingredients by weight, as well as the step-by-step process. Then, set a standard. Decide how your cookies should taste, look, and feel. Crispy, soft, chewy, or somewhere in between. This ensures every batch is just as good as the last. You will also have to design your label to go with your packaging. There are rules and regulations for what must be included on your labeling. In Canada, the government agency that decides what must be included on your labeling is Health Canada. Some things you might have to include are allergens, ingredients, a nutritional facts table, your best before date, and where your product was made or packaged. If you want to make claims on your labels about certain attributes of your product, like all natural, made in Canada, or gluten-free, there are very important rules to follow, and you must be able to prove your claim. That seems like a lot to include on a label, but don't forget, your product also has to stand out on the shelf. Make sure your branding is unique. Everything is easy to read, it looks attractive, and fits with the story you want to tell with your product. For example, if you are environmentally conscious or you want your product to be marketed as such, You might want to look at packaging that is recyclable or compostable, with branding that feels green or eco-friendly. And of course, make sure your name and logo are prominently displayed on the packaging so everyone knows who made the delicious cookies. Great job! We've gone over the behind-the-scenes steps to product development, and now our cookies are ready to be shared with the world. This part is called Introduction to Market or Product Launch, and it's the start of your product's big adventure. When people start buying and eating your cookies, your team will watch to see how much they like it. They'll also need to have a plan for what to do when people share what they think about the cookie, like if they say, "I love it," or "I wish it was crunchier." That way you can keep making your cookie even better. Or gather ideas to develop new recipes and new cookies. There are a lot of steps involved in product development. Creating a new food or beverage product can seem scary, but it can also be exciting, creative, and fulfilling. Whatever product you choose, Perennia is here to help you. Contact our product development team or visit our website to find out what services we can offer you. Whether it's testing and prototyping, shelf life evaluations, quality and food safety plans and training, nutritional facts tables, and much, much more. We can't wait to see what you create.